Hi, I'm Rachel, and I have just completed today Section 11 of the Milan Art Mastery Program. This is the infamous or famous Self-Portrait Week, the one that we've all been dreading except for those people who like to do portraits. I don't know about you, but I am someone who has never, ever felt confident drawing portraits of myself or anyone else for that matter. In fact, I think I did it once in high school. I got to take one art class and I did one pencil drawing then. And maybe we did it in kindergarten, maybe first or second grade. I don't even remember, but that's the only time I've done self-portraits because I can't draw people very well. I have drawn a couple faces of people in the last couple 2 or 3 years, but I did the grid method. I'm talking about not just this type of grid, but like 16 squares or 24 squares or 36 squares, a lot, because I didn't trust myself to be able to see things, eyeball things. So going into this week, I was very scared that it would turn out looking like a monkey, and I was super surprised. And why is this? I think it's because of all the drawing training that we've had leading up to this week. Ellie and Jimena have had us practice all kinds of measuring using the scale tool, using the eyeball, thumb, pencil method, and that's really helped so much. And so I was pleasantly surprised. What did we start off doing? We started off sketching our face. We could do just the eyes separate, the nose separate, and the mouth separate, but I decided to just go with putting them all in place to see if they would look not disjointed or look on the same axis. I used a mirror, a hand mirror, I held it up like this, and I looked with one eye. I had to take my glasses off because I cannot see up close with these. So that's why I don't have glasses in any of these pictures, although I do wear glasses all the time. I used to wear contacts, but I went to these. So I began with these sketches, and after that we did a self-portrait in pencil looking at the hand mirror. So I began with the mirror, and this is the sketch that I did. This sketch looks like I'm a deer caught in the headlights. The thing is I had to hold my eyes open so I could see. If I was squinting, I couldn't, it doesn't look very natural, and the eyes are kind of big here. But I was pretty pleased with how this turned out just because I find this so scary. Yeah, I look like a creepy Beethoven statue or something, but I feel like this is a huge improvement to what I think I would have done like 12 weeks ago when I started this program. So this one, I did some charcoal, I did a little bit of shading, not a huge amount of shading because I didn't want to mess things out. There's a little bit of erasure here to get some of the highlights, but overall, there's a slight resemblance to me, I think a little bit. It's not perfect, and the proportions aren't exactly correct, and why that is because when you're holding a mirror, you cannot use the scale tool to get accurate. You're supposed to kind of do the pencil method, and I'm not very good with that. I have not practiced it hardly at all, and I much prefer the scale tool. But you cannot use the scale tool up close as this because you have to hold it in the same exact spot. If you held it here, you get different measurements than if you held it here. So I could not do that. So this is what the results are. Moving after that, we printed out a selfie of our face, and then we got to work off the photo. That was so much easier for me because I could use the scale tool, and I think that this drawing turned out pretty good. This is the photo reference that I use. I know it's not the greatest picture, but everything's there, and I could measure. I've had my grid here, and I can measure all the points. The way I like to do it is to put little dots at all the key angle points where there's a change of angles or a plane shift. And then I map those out with the little dots across the paper here, and that's how I know where my eyes are going, where my nose and the mouth and so on and so forth. So I feel like this really turned out pretty good. It looks like me, at least you can tell that it's me, and it surprised me so much. I did spend a lot of hours. I can't remember exactly now how many hours I spent on that, but I was happy that it came out looking kind of like me. And I feel like this eye looks a little bit higher, but you know, whenever I tried to stack this picture in Photoshop, it came out looking like it's pretty much in the right spot, so I'm leaving it as it is. Okay, the final project for section 11 was to create a self-portrait in oils using the radiant underpainting method and glazing. Now, I already have done a little bit of glazing in some earlier projects, and I love glazing. But when you first lay down your radiant underpaints, it looks like Barbie, cotton candy, Andy Warhol mix. And you wonder, how are you ever going to pull a portrait out of that? For this project, I ordered a set of radiant underpaints in the cool tones and the warm tones. All throughout this program, they've mentioned them, they've used them. I didn't have them, and I wish that I did, because I actually am very fond of pastels. I think that my favorite colors are typically in the mid-tones and a little bit on the pastel shades. I do like some rich, vibrant other colors as well. I actually like a lot of color. I mean, what artist doesn't? But I went ahead and ordered some. I had to wait for them to come in. And when they did, I had already mapped out my face. I decided to do the pencil on the canvas first to map out so that I could get it accurately. I do not trust myself to just lay it out with paint, which is how it was done in the exercise, but I believe it was fine to just also lay it out with pencil. I had so much fun determining what shades to lay on the face shape. As the plane shifts were, cool, receding backwards, I would lay the cool lavender or the cool blues. And the ones that are a little bit warmer, I use the yellows or warm yellows for the ones that are closest to us, and maybe some cooler ones that recede a little bit to the background. And then after we did that, we let that dry, and that took all week. I didn't realize how much white is in the radiant paint, and so I think it was the white that caused it to take a long time to dry, as well as we've had a very rainy week. Once it was dry, we laid a glaze on top. Now I chose 2 different glazes. The bottom glaze here is a yellow glaze. It's a transparent yellow glaze. And the glaze that I used on the rest of this is a mixture of raw umber and alizarin crimson. I really like the warmth of those colors, and when I laid it on top, it started subtracting in the hair. I literally wanted to leave it that way. I didn't want to mess it up. I actually really like that Barbie candy Warhol vibe. And so I asked the coaches, do we have to take it farther? Can I leave it this way? And so she suggested to just work on the eyes a little bit, maybe the nose that pops out, and the mouth, and then I could leave it that way. So that's what I did. A little bit further than I wanted to, because I added some flesh tones here on the cheek, and you can see down here on the chin, and I think that pops out a little bit too much. It doesn't retain the original vibes of that Warhol look, so I probably should have stopped a little bit sooner, but I'm still really excited how this turned out. The teeth in the mouth is probably my least favorite. I don't really know how to do lips yet, and my lips, I had a big smile, so my lips were all stretched out, and I don't really know how you paint that, so that's something that I really want to work on in the future. I enjoyed working on the eyes, and I allowed myself just to play a little bit, add some color. I added yellow into these eyes, even though my eyes are not yellow, and I just had fun with this. I included clouds because I'm a dreamer. If you've been watching my channel, you know that. I love to dream. The business that I have is called Pocket Dreams Co., and I really like the optimist side of things. It's the reason why I really like this sort of happy, optimistic vibe is because growing up, I was a little bit more of a pessimist, and I would always see the glass half empty rather than half full. But after going through a lot of stuff with some of our kids, it was a really difficult time in our life. I realized that it's kind of up to us how our attitude will be, and how we overcome and how we approach difficulties in life. And so I began to see all the beautiful things in life that are around me every day, and all the blessings, and that caused my perspective to change. And now I want to be an optimist. This is something that I like to exude and I'm very enthusiastic about, is looking on the bright side of things and seeing all the blessings that are around you every day. So I hope this inspired you. This was section 11, week 11, whatever you want to call it, in the Milan Art Mastery Program. And if you're thinking about joining this program, I can highly suggest it. There's a lot of work in this first section, this first part 1 is what they call it. And I'm really excited to be moving on to part 2, but I'm not moving on yet. I have 1 more week, and I'm so excited because we get to pick to paint whatever we want. And for me, that's a bit of a problem because I like so many things, and I have a long list on my phone that I've been keeping for a long time of all the things that I would like to get around to paint. So I'm not sure how I'm going to decide, but I'm really excited about going into week 12, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to paint. So thanks for watching, and go make some art today, and have a great day.